Dun, 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 dun. Here's a story of an ugly lady who was bringing up two very ugly girls. All of them were very evil, like their mother. The youngest one is dumb. Here's a story of a man named Shady who was bringing up four guys of his own, four boys of his own. They were 5 men living all together, yet they were all alone. Dun, 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 till the one day when this lady met this fellow, and they knew it was much more than a hunch, and they knew it was much more than a family. That's how they came. That's the way they all became the Shady Bunch. The Shady Bunch. The Shady Bunch. That's the way they became the Shady Bunch. Sorry, guys. What's up, guys? It's Friday, man. It's Friday, September 6th, 2024. I haven't sang that song in so long, I forgot the song. We're the Bitcoin block height of 860,212. TikTok next block. I had to pull this shirt out today. My sister from another mister, Gina, bought me this shirt, and I absolutely love it, man. I was out today. I love you, Gina. Thank you so much for buying this for me. I was out today, and boy, I was pissing some people off, boy. My God. Oh my goodness, these people are so, oh my gosh. And this one here, I've gotten a lot of reactions to shirts, but this one here, people were very happy and pissed off at me with this shirt. And it got me to thinking today about, sorry guys, about Trump derangement syndrome, man. And it is prevalent in this country right now, boy. These people are crazy. Man. And again, it's not about Democrats or Republicans. It's really not. But before we get into it, let me define what Trump derangement syndrome is, the way I see it, right? Because some people may see it different. Let me give you my definition. Trump derangement syndrome is this, in my opinion. People that know who Trump is, obviously, because Trump has been around for 45, 50 years in the public eye, right? Everybody knows who the guy is. But despite knowing him up until the point of the summer of 2015, when he announced being a president, whether they liked him, loved him, disliked him, really didn't care about him, these people have absolutely gone nuts about this man. They have gone nuts. And by the way, everybody on this shirt obviously has TDS. Now, I'd replace him, Bernie Sanders, even though, you know, he's a socialist. I think that's Bernie Sanders. Yeah, it's Bernie Sanders. Because he kind of looks like Tim Walz. I would replace him with Tim Walz. Because even though I don't agree with anything Bernie Sanders has to say, and he does have TDS, as far as being shady goes, he is an anti-establishment guy. And, you know, he's a little bit of an outsider. And Hillary Clinton actually screwed him over in 2016. But I would definitely put Tim Walz on there as a shady guy. But anyways, so despite that, people still are, you know, they absolutely go nuts about this guy. You know what I mean? Knowing who he is, it's not like he's this new guy that came out. And they absolutely fell for the mainstream media's absolute lies about the guy. And I'm not going to say I fell for it, but when it first happened, because I always liked Donald Trump as a person, right? I used to buy a lot of his courses, and I used to be a real estate investor and an entrepreneur, you know, so I bought a lot of his stuff, man. And I used to really listen and get into that stuff. Robert Kiyosaki, him and Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book called Why We Want You to Be Rich. And a funny story about that, in 2007, I don't know when they wrote it, but in 2007, I actually read that book when I came to visit my auntie here in Las Vegas. And I told myself one day I was going to live here. I said that long before that, and I remember reading that book. And in that book, they basically said, him and Robert Kiyosaki said, and this was 17 years ago. Man, God, that's 17 years ago. They said that the richer are going to get rich, and the poor is going to get poor, and there's going to be, the middle class is going to be disappearing. And this is before the housing crash. This is before the Great Recession, you know, and they called it, man. They absolutely called it. And I really liked Donald Trump, man. I really did. But the people with Trump derangement syndrome, back to the definition, these people are not, they're not critical thinkers as far as how the economy is, how the country is. Trump lives in their minds rent free. When it comes to any politician that opposes Trump, they're going to go with him, and they hate Trump no matter what. You know what I mean? Trump does nothing good at all. Everything's terrible about the guy. It's just insane. They're thinking about Donald Trump. It really is. And these people are not the most logical thinkers. They're kind of sheeple, and let's just say they don't think outside the box. They have definitely been brainwashed, and everything is Trump's fault. Okay, I can go a little deeper than that, but you guys pretty much understand. You guys understand what Trump derangement syndrome is. Here's the question, as you can see from the title. I don't know what I'm gonna name the video, but can people with Trump derangement syndrome buy Bitcoin, or will they buy Bitcoin? You know what I mean? I know everybody, or exchange their fiat for Bitcoin. I know everyone eventually will. But that's a really good question, man, because I was out today, and sometimes I forget what shirt I have on, because I always have something on, a Bitcoin shirt, Satoshi, Biden's not my president, the American Horror Story, Kamala Harris, which I haven't shown on the videos. I got a couple with Kamala Harris, so let's just say that's not very viewer friendly. I don't wear those. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I probably would not be on YouTube if I put those shirts on, but I put them on. Again, freedom of speech, and free speech ain't free, I guess. And I actually forgot I had the shirt on sometimes, and I was getting a lot of TDS coming at my way, and I actually was in the mood to orange pill some people, but because of my shirt, I end up doing my political Jerry thing, or Jerry the political guy, or whatever, and not talking about Bitcoin. And I'm wondering, if I had a Bitcoin shirt on, these people with TDS, would they be open to learn about and buy Bitcoin? Real quick, pause this video and tell me if you know somebody with Trump derangement syndrome that has Bitcoin, that understands what Bitcoin is. Now, when I'm talking about Trump derangement syndrome, I'm not just talking about, and I should have said this in the definition, I'm not just talking about Democrats, okay? There are Republicans out here, the never Trumpers, that have Trump derangement syndrome, okay? There just are. I mean, what's her name? Liz Cheney just, a couple of days ago, she just endorsed, Kamala Harris. And, she's the most far left Democratic, person in office we've ever had, or trying to be in office as president, but she's in office as vice president, we've ever had. And the warmonger, Liz Cheney, wants her to be the president. And why? Is because she's got Trump derangement syndrome, among many other things. But you got the Mitt Romneys of the world. I mean, you got a lot of Republicans out here. So don't just think about it from a Democratic standpoint, right? Think about it from both ends. Do you know anybody in the comment section that has Trump derangement syndrome? I'm talking about full Trump derangement syndrome, not the oh, I don't like him that much, whatever. I'm talking about full TDS. Do you know anybody? Me personally, I do not know anybody, not one person that has TDS that likes Bitcoin. Not one. Now, the other day, I made a video, and my friend, his name is, I won't say his real name, but his name in YouTube's or Google, his Google account name is SW Boats, I believe. Me and him were in the Navy together. He's my boy, I love him. But he's got a severe case of TDS, man. And I tell him this all the time. He just does, you know what I mean? And I don't even talk to him about politics anymore, because he's one of those dudes that are very, very smart. Very smart, but he just has TDS, man. And he sees the world, literally, when you're talking to him, you feel like he's on one planet and you're on the other. I mean, he's so different from me that I really feel like after I get done talking to him or texting him, I'm really thinking like, am I in a parallel world here? And he probably thinks the same way about me. But my personal opinion, the only reason he's doing it, because he hates Donald Trump. You know, he thinks Joe Biden's economy is great. He thinks Kamala's great. He'll vote for anybody over Trump. He used to write on Facebook. He used to write novels and books. He's a real smart writer. He's just a real smart guy, period. Love the guy. But again, he's got TDS, and he write everything about about Trump every single day. Same things MSNBC and CNN writes. It does nothing new or nothing thought provocative. But he's smart. He's a good writer. Smart. And he left a comment on one of my videos, 2 or 3 videos back. He said all this stuff, all the parallel world stuff. He says, and then he ends it with, "Hey man, I want you to teach me about Bitcoin." And I'm like, what? So that, in the combination of what happened today with the people with the TDS and me wanting to talk to people about Bitcoin, inspired this video. So here's the question: can they be orange pilled? Someone with Trump derangement syndrome. Well, let's break this down on the base layer level. All right, let's get down to the basics here. In order for somebody to really understand Bitcoin, that means they have to be a out of the box thinker. They have to be a person usually or willing to be out of the box, because everybody's not out of the box until they see what's outside of the box. Because most people, again, are brainwashed, indoctrinated, and they're just sheeple, man, right? They just believe everything the mainstream tells them, and this, that, and the third. And again, my friend, he says that CNN is a trusted network and CNN's great. And I'm serious. He thinks that. Now he tries to play it off. Says, "Oh, I don't really watch CNN." He does. Trust me. He does. A lot of people do. And why wouldn't you trust him, right? I'm not making fun of the guy, but why wouldn't you trust the news when you watch it, right? So that's one thing you got to do. You got to be either an outside thinker, outside the box thinker, or a person that's willing to think outside the box, right? Another thing you have to do is you have to, once you get outside of that box, you have to understand and be willing to admit that you were lied to, right? Lied to about a lot of things. I mean, I make a 45-minute video about the things we've been lied to about. But just on the money situation, period, my same friend, along with other people, will say that the reason why inflation is here is because of supply and demand of COVID. And they'll give you all the reasons that the mainstream will tell you. They won't tell you, and they won't know that it's all about the money printing in Washington, D.C. They don't know anything about Milton Friedman's inflation and stuff like that, where either, and again, inflation is supply and demand as far as goods and services in an emergency situation, like with the toilet paper in 2020. Toilet paper went up like 4 or 5x. I remember in Rochester when there was no toilet paper, when people had it, it went up because nobody had it. And just like in the 70s with the gas. So I'm not discounting that, but that's a small part of inflation around the world. It only happens about 1 to 2% of all inflation, maybe even less than that. So what's real inflation? Inflation only happens in one place, and that's Washington, D.C. The Federal Reserve, again, there's nothing federal, and they don't reserve anything, print money. Meanwhile, while the government, the U.S. government, they overspend, and then they don't keep their balanced budget. They don't keep their budget balanced, by doing it the right way. They borrow money and pay a high interest, and they overspend. And that's where inflation comes from those two places in Washington, D.C. And these people with TDS have to be open-minded to do that. And do I think, first of all, they'll get out of the box? Maybe. But again, they'll have to admit that Trump was right about a few things. Because again, Trump is anti-establishment. He's anti-government. Even though, and again, I'm not no Trump stan here, guys. Okay, Trump, under his administration, they printed a lot of money during COVID. He said in 2015 or 2016 in one of those debates, he said that the debt was 19-something trillion, and he plans on getting it down. Well, he did not do that. He extended it by 7-point-something trillion. He got up to 26 trillion before he left office, and now it's up to more than 9 trillion more now. We went from 26 trillion to 35 trillion under Joe Biden. Well, he's a puppet, but the people that are in charge of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So, it's sad to think about that, how much debt we have in this country. But they have to be willing to realize that even though Trump did print a lot of money and stuff like that, he understands where it comes from. He'll tell you about it. You know, he'll tell you about inflation and the money printing and everything else, even though, again, they did it under his watch. So, and here's another thing. Trump now likes Bitcoin. You know, he went to the Bitcoin conference. He talked about the central bank digital currencies, how he's never going to let that happen. And that's another thing that the people with TDS have to understand, that the government is not on your side. They're evil. They're going to print money. They're going to debase your energy and your savings. And then once they do it right before the dollar crashes, they're probably going to go to a central bank digital currency. And they have to have an open mind and willingness to believe that. Will they? I don't know, man. That's a tough one, you know, for them to do that. So, and then Trump saying that he's going to keep his Bitcoin, or keep the United States Bitcoin that we've seized, I believe since 2011 or 12. We have a roughly about 210,000 Bitcoin. I don't know if we sold that one little part that we transferred over to Coinbase. I don't know if we did or not. But he said he's going to keep it. And he said never sell Bitcoin. Never sell your Bitcoin. So, and there's a lot of other things that you have to understand and know. And again, get outside of that box and learn and understand about all these things that they were lying to us about. And do I think that people with TDS are going to do that? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Not anytime soon. Not while Donald Trump is in office or running for office. And if there is an election, which I don't think there will be, but let's just say there is one, and he gets into office, I give it a 0 to 1% chance. 0 to 1% of that TDS population, which again is about 3 out of 10 people in this country. Seriously, 3 out of 10 people suffer from TDS. 0 to 1% of them may get over to Bitcoin just because they've been, their purchasing power has been diluted so much. Hopefully Trump can maybe fix that by, you know, getting closer, putting us on Bitcoin standard or something like that. So, let me know what you guys think. Sorry guys, I'm out of breath. It's just really hot right now, and it's 104 degrees here. And it's dry heat. I gotta get something to drink. But yeah, so I don't think someone with TDS in the big picture is going to is gonna adopt Bitcoin. I just don't. So like I said in the other video, people that you try to convince of things, people with TDS on both of my fronts, on far as political and Bitcoin, sorry to say this, but I just kind of just leave these people alone and let them do what they do. Oh, man. Anyway, speaking of Bitcoin, guys, Bitcoin is down today. It's in the 50,000 range, 53, 54,000 last time I checked. If you want to buy some cheap Bitcoin, I got 2 links down there. I would open up an account with Swan and Strike just so you can have a backup. And you'll get $10 free with Swan, $5 free with Strike. And you can get some real cheap sats. A little cheaper on Strike, but you want to have a backup to it. I don't know if Swan still gives out the free 10,000, up to 10,000, your first 10,000 buys with no fees. I don't know that. I don't know if they do or not. I don't think they do. But just start up an account just in case. You get some free Satoshis. And then you can do your daily buys, your weekly buys or whatever. And start stacking them sats, man. And get on this train and study Bitcoin. If you go on Swan, they have some really good, on the app, if you sign up, they have some really good learning tools how to learn about Bitcoin and study it. Seriously. So, but despite the people with TDS, because again, it takes adoption for Bitcoin to grow. Despite all that, just learn about it, stack it, and teach the people that are willing to learn. And at the end of the day, you got to put your money into something. Put your time and your energy into something. And me, I choose to put my energy in God, family, in this country. And I also put it into the hardest money man has ever created. And if I had to take a wild guess, I think you guys already know what it is. It's the best way to save. And for me, the only way to save. And that's Bitcoin. I love each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love, guys.